My clean date is January 7th of 2020. So I'm like 2.5 years clean now.
Yay!
Let's see. So I was born in Chicago. So my families are Yankees, if anybody understands that. We're very loud, all of us are, and very abrupt. So we moved from Chicago to Tennessee, but in my Chicago days, my first memory, I lived in a house that was very broken. My mom worked 2 jobs. My dad was an addict. He was very abusive. My memories back then were like, my first true memory, I was about 4 years old, and my dad was getting ready to punch my mom, and I remember jumping in front of him to stop him. A lot of those days back then, I would just lay in bed and just wait for the fighting to be done, and then listen to see if my mom was still alive. Like, it was really brutal. Eventually, my dad did go to prison for attempted murder of my mom. I have a brother who's deceased now, but it was just me and him growing up, witnessing what we witnessed. You know, my dad wasn't abusive towards me. He would just get really high and think my mom was, like sneaking out in barrels to go screw men, or he'd see her in a car and he would literally drag her down the street and stuff. So I lived with a lot of emotional turmoil in my life. So much that I thought it was normal. So I began to kind of fuck up. I was really good. When we moved to Tennessee, my elementary days, I moved there when I was 8. And I remember I had a 5th grade teacher who just adored me. She would come in and I'd go to school early so I could get away from my dad and my mom. I would go to school early and I'd read to the kindergartners, And I remember her telling me, Sarah, you're going to go somewhere in life. Keep this up, you're going to go somewhere in life. But one day she's seeing the look on my face and she asked me, what's going on. And I told her, that there's a lot of fighting at home. And again, I thought it was normal. And so she kind of became my rock a lot of days. Being 8, 9 years old and literally every day going to bed thinking that your mom's going to be dead the next morning was hard. It was really hard. So about 10 or 11, I started going to a church program. And at the church program, my friend Alan would bring us some Valiums that he would get from his grandma. And I would be so fucked up during these little church things. And I remember that the pastor would come in there and talk to us, and me and him would be laid out on the floor, But I know at 11, 12 years old, I liked it, And then at 12, I got a boyfriend who was 16. My mom hated that. My dad hated it. But my dad was best friends with his dad, so they were all druggies, I didn't know at the time that my boyfriend was doing meth, and heroin. I just remember every action that I had was very aggressive. My mom tried to help me. I got locked up in a juvenile for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against my own mother when I was 13. She locked me up so many times, thinking that it would help, But in reality, what was killing me was the home life, I would literally pick fights with both of them just so I could run away, and go smoke some weed with somebody or take a pill here and there, not realizing what was creating inside of me. And I knew back then, like, something wasn't right in me. I didn't feel normal. I felt out of place a lot of the time. And then at the age of 15, I've been walked in and out of a couple juvenile centers. Let's rewind, sorry. At the age of 12, I got off the school bus, and there was police and fire trucks and ambulances in front of my house, where my dad tried to drown my mom. we had a dog named Trouble that we found when we were walking to school in like 5 foot of snow in Chicago. Yeah, with bags on our feet. We found this dog Trouble and we took him home. But anyway, so the dog was blind because my dad used to beat him in the head, right? And he'd tell everybody that it was his best friend. I try to think that now, clean, that, I can kind of level with my dad and understand where he came from as well, because he didn't know any better, I guess, But anyway, so Trouble jumped on my dad. He's blind, doesn't know what's going on. He just knows my mom's screaming for life. And he bit my dad. My mom was able to get loose and run across the highway, stop traffic, and they arrested my dad. So life kind of got a little bit easier, I started a job at 14. I was working at a local roadhouse, helping my mom pay the bills, thinking I was fucking grown. But at the same time, I was smoking a lot of weed and trying to numb all these emotions that I went through. Also, when I lost my virginity, and I know this is probably a little too much, but when I lost my virginity, I didn't believe, right? And, I lived some fucked up things in my life. We lived with a lot of people. I had a lot of sick uncles and cousins, And so my mind would always race since I was 12 years old when I lost my virginity. It always made me wonder, like, did something happen to me, I would have dreams, like my dad did something to me, and my dad was my biggest fan, I never thought he would do anything to me. So my dad gets out, right? Mom gets back with him because she didn't press charges. And back then, the state wasn't how it is now, so they let it go. He did a little bit of time, gets out, they get back together, everything's okay for a little while. And then the beatings start again, and my using, by then I start taking Lortab. And my mom sees me kind of spiraling out of control, once again tries to step in to save her daughter, and I just didn't want no part of it. So what I would do was I would literally box my mom like she was nobody. And those are the things I have to live with today. And boy, she's in my corner. Like, I love my mom. But, yeah. So, we end up, my dad steals the van, right? He comes to Oklahoma. So, my mom, of course, follows him. After I get out of one juvenile, I come home, and she literally had a trail through the house where she was just going to work and coming home and going to bed because her husband left her, right? I walked up in a juvenile that was when I got aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on her. They put me not in a juvenile that time. They put me in the psych ward for 30 days. I had a blast, by the way. Told him I was crazy and I didn't want to leave. I met a boy there. But,
hey, don't we all?
Yeah. And so we get out. She's like, well, let's just go to Oklahoma to visit, right? Okay. I leave everything I own, and she moves me here to Oklahoma. June 6th of 2001. Things still aren't okay, right? My dad's fucking twacked out of his mind. My mom is 55 pounds and an emotional wreck. My brother, right, he's there. My brother's in Tennessee because we left him there with his fiance because he's starting his life. He's 18 at this time, 19. Timmy is my brother. My dad always used to say Timmy wasn't his, even though he looked just like him, It was one of them things. My mom cheated on him because she was such a whore because he's high. And so Timmy felt a lot of that backlash, and he also couldn't take the beatings anymore. I don't know if I'm sure a lot of you guys have lived in those kind of households, and it's brutal on kids. Like, it's so fucking brutal. I never learned any coping skills. So again, all I knew was fight or flight, And so Timmy stayed in Tennessee. We're here. I move in with my aunt because when we move here, there's nowhere for us to go. Like, my mom didn't have anything planned out. She just was trying to fill that void herself, So I 16, I get pregnant with my son. He was my neighbor, by the way. And you'll see there's a lot of neighbors. Every one of my baby daddies is my neighbor. True story. And we do have a new neighbor moving in, Amanda. I seen him up there.
Where do you live at?
Yeah. So I get pregnant, right? But I also hurt my knee in the process. So they start giving me Lortabs. I'm 16, pregnant, getting Lortabs, right? And it's okay with the doctors. Everything's fine. So I'm like, these are fucking good, right? Take a couple more. Next thing you know, my 30-day script is lasting 12 days. And my poor baby inside of me is getting fucked up too. And luckily, he was born fine. So I kind of started to slow down on that, pulled my shit together, you know. 16, working 2 jobs, pregnant, with the neighbor now, moved in with him. Had the baby, life was good. My son's dad's other baby mama dropped off his 2 kids. One was 2 years old and the other one was 9 months. So here I'm 16 with 3 kids. And I did it though, you know, I tried giving them the life that I didn't have. And unfortunately, my son's dad is a lot like my father. He tried putting hands on me a few times. And so we had that rocky go, and I tried to make it work till Darian was about 2. I finally left, I got my own apartment, and my independence started. Boy, I was on fire, you know what I mean? Like, I ended up being a manager at Dial America. It was a telemarketing place. Got promoted there, was doing really good, making good money. They shut down, and then I got introduced to collections. Got into collections, was making $100,000 a year by the time I was 21 years old. It was just me and my son, had a badass townhouse, nice car, you know, doing the things. But I was still taking pills. My Lortabs then went to Oxy, and then they went to Dilaudid, and then I went to this and then that. By this time I was not shooting any drugs, I was just snorting them, right? But I was keeping my shit together, so I was okay. I was not okay. So I left one collection agency. I ended up getting some spots in my brain in 2011. I was walking around the fair. My foot turned blue. I go to the doctor, and they find 2 spots in my brain. All of a sudden, I drop down, and nobody knows this. So all of a sudden, I drop down to 80 pounds. We can't figure out why. I know why, but I never told the doctors this. Never told anybody this until now. I was doing fucking Adderall like it was nothing, you know? Popping 5 or 6 fucking 20, 30 milligram Adderalls. Dropping weight like it was fucking dope, you know? And it probably was the cause of a lot of my shit. I ended up being a noodle groover. I literally was like this all the time. Yeah, my mom would call me a noodle groover. Couldn't keep a job. Went on FMLA at the time. I met my first fiance. He was not my neighbor, not this one. But yeah, good guy, real good guy. He had 2 little girls. But I was taking Xanax now because I've got these spots in my brain. I'm noodle grooving. I'm on fucking Adderall, but I'm not telling nobody, right? They don't know what the spots are. We did all these fucking tests over and over and over. Still couldn't figure it out. And then when I'm still at work, it's right before I left my job, I seized out. And my DM had to give me mouth-to-mouth to bring me back to life. And then after that, it just wasn't the same. Like, I just felt, I don't know. I felt lost, broken, and that's when I really think my disease started setting in, that what I was doing wasn't okay, you know? So then I started drinking. I drank for about 2 years straight. I was waking up, drinking vodka, go to bed, drinking vodka, but you couldn't smell it. Couldn't hold a job. My fiance at the time was having to pick me up and carry me up the stairs, down the stairs, because I was so frail and so little. I couldn't even go outside when it was cold out. I literally was like this big. I was a toothpick. I think I was maybe 68, 69 pounds by this time. And it was all because of Adderall. I know it was. Eventually, they wanted to take a piece of my brain out and do a biopsy on it. Because after the seizure, they called me and said, Sarah, I left the hospital, by the way. 2 days, I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. So I left. And they said, well, you have another spot on the opposite side of your brain. So they think on this side of my brain it's just a cluster of veins, but it's not pushing up against anything vital. The only way to get rid of it is to give me a stroke. That's not gonna happen. So I started taking vitamins and started gaining weight again, got off the Adderall, started feeling normal again. Went back to collections, and here started drinking, and I left the fiance, couldn't handle him and his kids. We lasted 3 years. And I meet a guy, ends up being a stalker, broke into my house, would sleep in my bed when I wasn't there. There'd be like a trail of blood, you know. Yeah, let me tell you. But I ended up pregnant by him. And I know people are gonna judge me as soon as I say this, but it's my story, man. I made some fucked up decisions. But I ended up having 3 abortions through my addiction, and I used them like birth control. I get knocked up, oh shit, gotta go have an abortion. Get knocked up, oh shit, don't like this baby daddy, he's my boss, I better go get an abortion, you know? And I'll never forget the 3rd time that I got pregnant. And I told my mom, and the look on her face, I was like, I gotta have an abortion. The look on her face was so disgusted at me, but I was so fucking sick, y'all. I was fucking sick. So in 2013, my grandfather died the last day of April, and my brother, he done moved down here by now. He's in and out. We all kind of lived together at one time, in and out, you know. But my brother was having problems with his wife, and he hung himself the day after my grandpa died. My only sibling, who grew up with the shit that we witnessed, and he took his life because he didn't want his daughter to grow up like we did, because he turned into my father. They were beating on each other, and he was so strung out. But the week that my brother died, he was clean. He was trying to get clean, and he just gave up, man. And I didn't know he was hurting, because I was in my own fucking world, doing my own shit, you know. And so he hung himself. My dad finds him. My dad was actually, my brother went and sold a chainsaw to my uncle. They lived like backyard to backyard on the other block, you know. And so my brother went over there, sells the chainsaw to my uncle, and my dad's like, something ain't right. So him and my brother party together, right? So Timmy goes home, and my dad goes around the block, comes in my brother's house, right? Doesn't see him anywhere. He thinks, okay, maybe he went to go get a sack with that $40, right? No. My dad goes in to take a shit, and at the same time, my brother's hanging himself. So, my dad is actually a heart patient. He has congestive heart failure. He'd had it for about 9 years when this happened. He had 35 mild heart attacks and 2 massive heart attacks, triple bypass, balloonings every year, and just kept getting high. But anyways, so he takes a shit, comes out, walks around the house, sees my brother. By then, my brother's so fucking heavy, he can't get him down. He's having a heart attack in the process, right? We're still trying to mourn my grandpa, who just died the day before. My dad calls me, I get over there, and it was just a mess, you know what I mean? Like, that one person that I thought I was gonna grow old with, that we'll have our kids hang out together, is gone, you know? So I fucking really started getting high then. That's when I was introduced to meth. That went on for a while. I was shooting like grams at a time, you know, because my dope dealer was like, oh, you know, all these girls get off, and I'm like, I don't understand it, you know? So he's like making all this for me to make me sick, you know, or trying to get me off, and of course it didn't work. But it fucked my brain up, because that's when I started thinking, like, there was castles under the ground where my dead brother was. 1 year into the day that we buried my brother, my dad died. He hit me up the night before. I had knee surgery because I jumped out of a moving vehicle 6 months after my brother's death, right? And fucking jacked my knee up. The news put me back in the car twice. Don't remember any of it because I was on Xanax, right? Xanax, woo! And alcohol, oh no. Oh God, I don't even know the shit that I done. I don't even want to know, to be honest with you. Like, oh my God. So, yeah. I wait 6 months, I get the surgery. Me and Dad get into it because he wants my pain pills, right? always want fucking something, a sandwich, cigarettes, you know what I mean? Like, a couch. He calling me upstairs, come beat this bitch's ass. She's done cheated on me, you know, and he date women my age, you know, and I'm like, I'm not coming over there. So anyways, they stayed at my grandma's house down the street. So I go over there and I fucking chunk some cigarettes at him. I chunk 2 pain pills at him, and I say, fuck you. Don't call me again, right? He says, Sarah, I'm fucking sick. I'm sick. Everybody knew but me, he had 2 weeks to live. My dad was always dying of something, right? Always dying of something. But he had 2 weeks to live, and I didn't know it. So I said, fuck you. I get a phone call at 7 a.m. My father was dead. I lived with that for a long time. Like, my last words to my fucking dad was, fuck you. I don't live like that today. I don't. So after that, my baby cousin, the one I lived with when I first moved here, wouldn't hurt a fucking soul, got drunk, wanted to kill himself with a shotgun, turns around and fucking blows my uncle up, kills him, tries to kill my aunt, she wrestles him for the gun. My baby cousin's doing life right now. I'm sorry, he's doing 25 years right now. My Uncle Frank, one of the most man, if anybody ever needed to look up to a man, it was this fucking man. He was just perfect. Perfect. But so my cousin killed him. So all these things were happening, just boom, 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 boom. Another cousin of mine died right afterwards. And I'm spiraling, fucking out of control. My little boy in the process, I was that mom who coached baseball, I coached football. I fucking did everything that I needed to as a mom because I did not want my kids to live what I went through. And here I'm losing it, and I'm fucking turning into my dad. And my mom is watching me fall apart. So, my drug of choice is heroin. I get pregnant with Fiona, right? Her dad ends up coming to the rooms. So I kind of was like, okay, I'm going to check out what this is. You know, he's got, I think, 5 or 6 years clean now, 6 years. So I come in. My first experience was not the greatest because at that time he was like, that's not my kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got ran out of the rooms because there was a lot of chit chat and this and this and this and this. But I shouldn't have left. I should have just sat in here and said, fuck you guys, right? I know who the baby daddy is, you know what I mean? I only slept with one person at the time. We've been together a year, you know? But whatever. But I left. So I went through 6 fucking years of hell, of fucking ODing, all the fucking time. Right back there, Amber. Her fucking mom saved my fucking life, man. Straight up. Like, she really did. I'm forever grateful. It was my fucking son's birthday. It was Mother's Day. And what's sad to me to this day, that day that I OD'd on heroin, it didn't bother me that it was my son's birthday and him and Matt were at home making a fucking cake. It was nothing. Like, okay, I need to get high again because now I'm sick from the Narcan.
Yeah.
You know? And to this day, it still is not really registered. Like, I know it was fucked up, but I still don't have those feelings how I should have felt. You know what I mean? Like, I should have fucking felt horrible. But I didn't. I just felt sick. Dope sick. Heroin ruined my fucking life, man. All of it's ruined my life. I think my drug of choice was more. It really wasn't. I mean, of course I needed the opiates because I fucking was going to hurt if I didn't. So anyways, fast forward. Go through some fucked up shit with heroin. Real bad. I get with another neighbor who is my daughter's stepdad, Matt. We did some crazy shit together, right? Abusive moments, living with my dad, I felt like a lot of the time. But I get busted finally. I'm trying to get clean. I don't know how. I've reached out to rehabs. I've gone to 1 or 2, left, right? But I knew where to come. So I finally get clean. I go to rehab. I get kicked out, go to another rehab. And I stay. I stay 72 days. And I get out, right? That was January 7th of 2020. I go into sober living, which I'm like, fuck you, I'm not going into sober living. But I did. And there's a lot of drama in sober living houses, but there's a lot that you learn in sober living houses. They taught me how to be responsible, how to pay my bills, how to be home on time, how to take care of my daughter again. So they closed my case 180 days early with my daughter.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah,
gave
they
it
did.
back to me. My son now lives with me because he moved in with his dad to start high school. I'm going through some shit with my son. He's 18. He has 2 credits left to get his high school diploma. And he's a stoner from hell, right? And he just doesn't want to fucking do it. And it scares me. Like, his birthday, he took some shrooms.
Oh, good.
He took some shrooms at a party of like 25 people, and he's like, Mom, what are you doing? I'm like, going home, because I was going to let him all party there, right? It's at Matt's house. He was going to work. I'm like, what? What's up? And I'm like, rubbing the top of his head because he doesn't look well. He's like, I took some shrooms. I'm like, by yourself? Yeah. Okay. So he's like, where are you going? I was like, home. He's like, can I come with you? He's still got 40 more people coming. Right now, there's a room, literally 25 people in it. I'm like, okay. So of course, now I'm panicked because I'm seeing my son fucked up. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how much he took, what it is. I don't know, you know? And in that moment, I thought of my own mother. All the fucking shame I felt, worrying, her sitting there not knowing if I was gonna come home, if I was gonna die, watching me, sitting there recording me half the time. So my mother, man, she's the most beautifulest woman in the world. To put up with me, like it's just, So I've paid her back a little bit, you know, in recovery. I bought her a fucking car. And it just felt good. It felt good. She's like, I don't want any car. Her car was fucking ran down. It was a beater, you know, fucking bad. And I was like, Mom, just take it, you know, just take it. I work now. I got a job as a manager for the first 2 years of my recovery. And I knew the job was for me, like I really did. It was that stepping stone that I needed to get where I'm at today, you know? I met a lot of good people in these rooms. Like, everybody this time around when I came in embraced me. They've helped raise my daughter in here, you know what I mean? Like, I would leave my daughter with probably every single one of you here. Maybe every one of you.
Maybe.
There's a couple I wouldn't. No. Narcotics Anonymous, man, this program is beautiful. I truly am not a book person. I can't tell you what the literature says, right? I do read it sometimes. I'm learning now, you know, I'm a sponsee. I've got like 15 sponsees, I think. And I'm learning, like, to send my spiritual principle every day, to fucking do my gratitude, to put something in front of me, to see, this is what you gotta focus on, girl. You can't be over here fucking thinking this shit because I gotta have my traffic cop, like my sponsor taught me. I get them crazy thoughts in my head, traffic cop, waving ball out.
That's right.
And it works. I might have to do it a lot, okay, because I think some fucked up shit, especially in my line of work. I work for Oklahoma Mental Health now. I'm working on getting my GED. I passed the language arts, failed the fucking math. I even thought about cheating, but the little inner of me who's got recovery is like, Sarah, you gotta do it for your fucking self. Don't put a fucking Bluetooth in or whatever, you know. I really want to. But I'm not going to because I've gotta fucking do it and show myself I can do it, right? So I'm working on that. I just took my mom and the kids on vacation. I was able to do that. You know, going back to my dad, I talked to a psychic. I don't know if anybody believes in that shit, but I do, right? Some shit happened when I was high that was crazy. So I believe in that shit, right? So I talked to a psychic, and so, you know, I always have that weighing over my head about the losing my virginity thing and my dad, right? And she tells me, your dad is a really good person, Sarah. He's had a really hard life. And he steps forward and claims responsibility for it. So I'm like, what the fuck's that mean? Did he do it to me? You know? But she said no, that he doesn't know what happened to me, but I gotta let that shit go. But he put me around a lot of fucked up people, so who knows? You know what I mean? So, like, I've learned in this program, I've got to forgive no matter what. Even if I can't understand why or how or what it was that's happened to me, I've got to let it go. Because if not, it's going to keep me fucking sick.
That's right.
I have a 4-year deferred sentence. I just paid off all my fines.
That's right.
Paid off my attorney. I didn't know it was going to cost money to get it expunged, by the way.
Yeah. $1,500.
I spent all my money.
Hey.
So I'm working on that. And like I said, I have a beautiful life, man. If you're new here, dude, get a fucking sponsor. It's that fucking easy. Walk up to somebody and say, hey, will you sponsor me? You know? Watch them a couple times. Come to a couple meetings and then ask them. Where it's at is the steps. I've been sitting on my step 9 for a couple months now.
Hey, fucking what's up?
I'm pulling a Michaela.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I
love you too, Ouch.
Don't do this. I'm telling you, don't do it.
As we say, not as we do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I got some work to do, right? I got some fucking work to do. But today I get to be a damn good daughter, right? A damn good aunt, and a fucking hell of a mom.
That's right.
That's what I get to do today. I love when I drop my daughter off at school and she gets out. She's so emotional in the mornings. It's so funny because she all knows she got a fucking attitude from hell. But in the mornings, she gives me a hug and a kiss. And then the lady opens the door and she gets out. She goes to walk. She turns around. She looks back at me and she's like, so she gets back in my car, right? We got a line of traffic, by the way, trying to drop their fucking kids off so they can get to work. And here's Fiona. 3 times we go through this every single morning. The lady now just opens the door and says, go ahead, give her your kisses. Give her your hugs. But I get to do that today because of this program.
That's right.
Each and every single one of you guys. Like, I know half these people in the rooms. They've been in here for a while now, and that's beautiful. There's so many fucking people come and go, you know? I see now, like, where sponsors get their inspiration, their hope. It's a beautiful thing. Being of service, if it's just giving someone a ride or opening the door or making coffee, it all makes you feel part of, and that's what you got to do is get out of your comfort zone and be part of. I'm thinking about moving to Tennessee or to Alabama in 2 years. This has been my home for 22 years, but Tennessee is really my home. And I'm terrified because guess what? The recovery here is fucking amazing. And it scares me that they don't have it out there, but I could go out there and be that vessel of hope. I could start a meeting, you know? I don't know. We'll see in 2 years. A lot can happen in 2 years, right? So, but that's my goals. I'm working on that. I'm working on my credit. My credit is now 639. Yes. Yeah. I get to do all this because of Narcotics Anonymous. So that's all I got. If you're new here, man, please get a sponsor. If you need a sponsor, come see me. You know, I will help you out as much as I can. If you're a male and you need a sponsor, come to me and I'll try and help find you a sponsor. Get some literature and just follow the suggestions because they say in the book, do you know this part, that they've never seen anybody relapse that works and lives the Narcotics Anonymous program. I don't know if I said it word for word, but
It's fine.
yeah.
You did great.
So, other than that, I want to say thank you to Kaylee, celebrating 3 fucking years.
Woo!
It's like, let me cover the baby tears for a fucking. Sorry. All right, that's all I have, y'all.
Yay!